Trapmore gang, it's been a few days since this terrifying mass shooting in Stockton, and there's more and more information coming out by the minute, okay? I'm keeping you guys updated. I'm committed to bringing you updates on this every single day, and it sounds like we have got some very big updates today. We've got some updates from some of the victims, a terrifying statement from another one of the attendees who was actually there, and one of the alleged targets of this hit that killed 4 people is actually speaking out from behind bars after being arrested for being there at the scene at this kid's birthday party where allegedly over 100 people were in attendance, many of them alleged to be gang members, and basically they've locked up anybody that was even near that party, okay? They're saying probation violation, you're around gang members, this is not cool. Anybody that has anything to do with this, whether you're on the shooter's side, whether you're on the victim's side, the feds are involved and they're cracking down, okay? I got a whole bunch of updates for you, and I'm just going to break it all down for you today. Now, the first thing that I'm going to get into, okay, this is just... It's so sad to see that the cycle is just continuing from this point, because despite the heavy police presence and the citywide grief that's been going on in Stockton, gang members are apparently still sliding in the streets, and 2 more people have already been shot in a drive-by. Now, it's unclear if this incident is related, but at the same time, it really wouldn't surprise me if this was related, because it's just out of control. And I know the feds are on top of things in Stockton, but basically it seems like they still haven't got a handle of the situation, okay? So let's take a look at this situation, and then we'll look at some of the comments and just see what people are saying about the latest shooting. This is another drive-by shooting. 2 people have been hit, but it sounds like there aren't any lives lost in this situation, thank God. Let's see.
More gun violence tonight in Stockton, where sheriff's deputies are at the scene of a double shooting. This shooting happening just days after 4 young people were killed at a child's birthday party over the weekend. Thank you for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Andrea Flores.
I'm Golston Dart. While police are not connecting these shootings, it is more violence for a city that has just been rocked by violence lately. The shooting happening just after 7 o'clock near Gertrude Avenue and Horner Avenue. Let's go to Andres Valle, who's at the scene of this latest shooting. Andres.
Yeah, so guys, again, this shooting happened right around 7 p.m. here. We're sitting right in front of where all of this went down. As you can see, there's investigators on the scene currently, and we've seen those evidence markers as well. I was talking to a couple of those neighbors off camera about maybe 30 minutes ago about what they heard and they saw. They said that they heard about 10 gunshots at least rang through this neighborhood here on Gertrude. Again, we're pretty close to Franklin High School as well. And we also got reports to a soccer game that was playing right when this shooting happened, and they said that they heard roughly maybe 10 to potentially 20 gunshots, but that didn't stop them from finishing their soccer match tonight. We also spoke to another...
It's so chilling to hear that, because it's like we're talking about kids' parties being shot up. Now we're hearing about soccer games going on, and it seems like the violence in Stockton is getting so normalized. They're not even stopping their game. 20 gunshots are ringing out. People aren't even stopping their game of their soccer game. Like, when is this going to end? This is not normal, man. And so you got people in the comments basically saying lately there's been a shooting in Stockton every day since the late 80s. People saying, I guess everyone in Stockton is going online with Christmas shopping. It's too dangerous to be outside. And this person, needless to say, my next vacation will not be in Stockton, okay? Gang violence, gang related, this is what's happening, okay? People are saying the moral of the story, the soccer game was very important. Some people think it's birthday payback, okay? I don't know if we can say that for sure, but just like that first shooting that unfortunately claimed 4 lives, it hasn't taken long, and apparently, okay, more information is emerging about this second shooting that's happening, and once again, a terrifying new audio recording that captures the full audio of the shots being fired, start to finish, has now basically emerged, and it's just chilling to hear. So that actually is audio from the deadly mass shooting that took place on the 29th of November. I thought for a second that might have been the second shooting, but that's the original one. And what's weird is this actually sounds kind of different to that audio that we heard the other day. It didn't sound like there were that many shots fired. Maybe that was only a small part of the recording, but this one, I'm going to play it again. This one, it sounds like a lot of shots being fired. There's a barrage of bullets, and it does sound like maybe there's almost like a very slight pause in there, and the gunfire continued. Let's hear it again. So it sounds to me like there's one shot and then a pause and then a whole bunch of shots, then another pause and then some more shots. Now, it's unclear if these are all shots being fired at the victims or if this is actually some shots being fired at the victims, some people returning fire. That first shot is very eerie. If you notice the gap in time between that first shot and then the barrage of what sounds like just a dozen plus bullets afterwards, like that's really creepy. The way there's one shot, there was probably a lot of confusion, and then it just keeps on going. It's just messed up, man. It's actually crazy. It's so sad. So we've got more first-hand accounts of people that were actually there or close to the shooting. Okay, this is another attendee who actually recorded the first few gunshots inside the venue, and she basically discusses the news coverage and the poor police response to the incident after it happened. Okay, this is really sad. And shout out to Seti Nash for covering this clip too. He's been doing great reporting on this. Shout out my guy Seti, man. That's my guy.
Let's dig deeper into the story, because a lady came out and she said something very perplexing about the whole entire situation. And let me tell you, she said the news got it all wrong.
Okay, so I don't really come on the internet, but this mass shooting shit in Stockton has really got me so first of all, being invited there, I mean, it was a wonderful party, but I just don't feel like the news is just being honest, being in there and not knowing whether you gonna make it out. And here's the thing, like, you know, you're having a gathering, you had a couple of drinks and stuff, so you don't really process what's going on, okay? So shots rang out. At first you think it's like balloons or whatever, and then all of a sudden you realize the second round of shots that's coming in, these ain't no normal guns. Like, they in here lighting shit, and it was an open like banquet hall, so there is nowhere to run, there is nowhere to hide. You don't know whether you, and I remember thinking that, like, we ain't gonna make it out to this motherfucker, my kids, like, bro, there was so many.
It's so sad to hear her just giving this account of the story, because, like, you can tell that, like, you know, even though she's lucky enough not to have been hurt by this incident, like, she's going to be suffering a lifetime of trauma. Like, just even reliving this and telling this story on the internet, like, you can tell she's going through it right now, man. And it's just so sad to see.
Yeah, bodies, bro, the news is not being honest. They're not being honest. It was the kids for me. It was the kids. My daughter was doing CPR on that little boy who died. She said his dad kept asking, is he gone? I couldn't even imagine not coming back home with my mom. I've never seen so many dead bodies, lifeless bodies, I don't know. I know for a fact I saw like a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old girl, and she was lifeless. I ain't hear the news say nothing about that. I was helping my daughter tie up people's legs. They had been shot in the legs. There was another dead body on the back porch, and he was all twisted up. There was nowhere to hide, nowhere. And like, when it was going on, like, I remember I was thinking smart, thinking, well, where would you stand, and where would you, be? Because you couldn't tell if they was in the building shooting or where they was. All you knew is that these was not some ordinary ass guns. It wasn't, and so.
So she's saying these weren't some ordinary ass guns, right? She's saying, now what's weird is it's like that. I ain't gonna lie, the audio recording of the shots being fired, it didn't sound like automatic gunfire. It sounded like, you know, I don't know what you call it, not automatic gunfire, basically. Okay, like, I don't know, sequential shots being fired. That first shot individual, it didn't sound like a switch. It didn't sound like all this stuff that you be hearing the Chicago rappers ad-libbing. It sounded like somebody was taking shots, individual shots at that crowd one by one, and there were gaps in between the shots. And what's really weird is you hear that first shot being fired, and then there's a pause. You hear the engine rev. It sounds like obviously it's a drive-by, but it sounds like the car's almost, it's like someone fired a shot from a distance to scatter everybody. Then they hit the gas and then shot at speed as everybody scattered. Like, I don't know exactly how it went down, but as she's saying that wasn't no ordinary guns. I feel like she's saying maybe there was some kind of high-powered rifles, you know, not pistols. I don't know. Okay, look, I'm not from the USA. I don't know the gun culture like you guys be knowing them. But clearly this is somebody from the United States, from the community, who is saying these were not some ordinary guns used in the incident.
I don't know. I just remember helping get people to the ambulance, but this is, of course, after it was over, while it was going on. You did not know. My biggest thing right now is picturing if it would have been, not questioning God, but why he's spared me and my children. Because the bullets, they ain't got no name on them. And it could have been anybody. And I was swimming in blood. And then I looked down, it was like, is this beans or blood? It was both. And I think, you know, after, like, sobering up and then, like, waking up this morning, just realizing that my babies are still here. Like, I don't even care about myself, but my babies are still here. But then the agony of the people who went to the party and they didn't make it out. Like, bro, that does not mean to get on no internet. But I'm telling you, this shit is crazy. I gotta imagine even if it was me or one of my, if I was holding one of my babies, it would have been helping me. It would have been, because people were just walking by trying to find their loved ones, trying to find, you couldn't find nobody, and there was just bodies all over the floor. Bodies. I'm telling y'all, the news is not. I don't know if they have to protect things or they can't release certain information, or they just don't know because nobody would talk to the police. Nobody said, and I get it. I guess, you know, the politics or whatever, which I don't know.
So she's saying nobody would talk to the police, right? And what's interesting, obviously, she's very emotional and she's going through it, and clearly she's been emotionally affected by this. I don't want to take anything away from her personal account of this situation because it is so sad, and she's going to be really suffering from some trauma. But I think it's interesting, right, the way that she's kind of saying, like, oh, the news, they're not really reporting on this. I don't feel like the news even are aware of the state of things. I mean, they're reporting on it from kind of an aftermath, the police and investigation standpoint, but like, this is why this is so important that we have people like Sedi Nash reporting on these things, and we have people like this who actually were involved and were there, who are putting their accounts onto social media. For everybody that says, oh, you know, social media reporters, oh, you know, you leave it to the real news, you're doing it. Look, this is so important to get this information out there, okay? Sedi Nash is doing a great job by putting this out there and broadcasting this and amplifying her voice. She's saying the news media are not talking about how effed up this situation was. Okay, that's why people like Sedi and me, we're going to try and amplify these voices and let people know this is really what was going down that day, and this is not cool. It's not okay. And I think the authorities, they will get to the bottom of this eventually. Okay, they will want to hear these first-hand accounts of how bad that situation was, but I just really feel this woman's pain.
I don't want to know nothing about, you know, I'm not slow to the hood shit, but I don't live that lifestyle either, you know.
But that's what she said, right? She was basically saying that nobody that was at the party, and they're saying that the party was, unfortunately, despite being a 2-year-old's birthday party, there was over 100 attendees and a lot of people were gang affiliated. Obviously, a lot of these folks that are gang affiliated, they're not going to talk to the police. For you to have 3 children dead, four people lost their lives, like how are the police coming and saying you didn't see anything? And I feel like this woman is so brave for putting her account of this story out there, because the police are going to be getting a wall of silence from these alleged gang members. They're not willing to say what went down, but this is so important. She's letting people know just how bad this was. Now, she's not pointing anybody out. She's not saying who was responsible. There will be some of that going on. You best believe if there's 150 people at this party, and yes, some of them are gang affiliated, some people are going to want to talk to the police, and they will get to the bottom of this.
I just thought we were supporting a birthday party, but it was kids. That's what's funny. It was kids. They didn't make it out. It wasn't adults. I can't unsee the flash, the bullet wounds, the body. I can't. And it took the police so long to get there, the fucking ambulance so long to get there. They did not come till like 30, 45 minutes later. So they were doomed. And my daughter was in there giving CPR and all. Like, she saved lives. She saved so many lives. I don't know, y'all. It was crazy. But from the inside, it was the worst feeling in the world. And I know if you're going to make it out, I don't even think I had time to panic, but I'm so sorry for all the lost souls, the kids, the parents that were probably up all crying. They ain't got no sleep. You don't never see your kids again. My kids are traumatized. I'm traumatized. They said they don't ever want to go to a birthday party again. They said,
so sad. Now, in spite of, you know, some people, and, you know, I'm so grateful for that harrowing account of the incident, I feel like that needs to be put out there. She said that, you know, she feels like the authorities weren't necessarily asking or looking into or even finding out or knowing just how serious things were at that incident. But what we do know is that now all 4 of the victims who lost their lives have been identified. And as you can see, these are just kids, man. It's just so sad. You know, I believe the oldest individual was 21, but come on, man. Like, this is someone with their whole life ahead of them. I mean, it's not quite the same as the children, but it breaks your heart, okay? 2 little girls, 2 young men losing their lives way, way before their time, man. And, you know, the news have identified them now. We're beginning to know a little bit more about just these heartbreaking stories and the families that are just shattered by this. We did touch on in the previous update that I did on this, Amari Peterson and his father and what he was going through. He had a lot of strength to get onto the news and give his account of what went down and talk about the grief that he was dealing with. But like now we've learned all 4 of the victims' names, and it's been named publicly by the news.
Tonight, we are learning more information about the 4 young people killed in that mass shooting, starting with Maya Lupian. She was 8 years old. She was a 3rd grader at an Aspire Apex Academy. The school shared a statement from her family saying that Maya loved to dance, sing, and draw. She was a purple belt in karate and loved being active. She excelled in school, and she loved her extracurricular activities.
A GoFundMe has identified the 8-year-old as Journey Rose Rio Tutar Guerrero. She's described as kind and playful. Journey Rose was in the 3rd grade and loved to tell her family about what she learned every day.
Family and friends have identified the 21-year-old as Susano Archuleta. Susano was at the party with his girlfriend. His family was told that Susano protected children and his girlfriend when the shooting broke out, putting them in a closet to hide.
I mean, it's heroic to hear that. And, you know, there's been a lot of hate for some of the victims that I've seen online. People saying, you know, that it was gang members, it was a gang party, they shouldn't have had 100 gang members around children. But that's not necessarily the case for everybody there. And nobody wanted this to happen. And, you know, you're hearing the story about Susano, you know, essentially looking out for the people around him and trying to save the people around him and trying to protect the people around him. We don't know exactly how the sequence of events went down, but clearly, you know, he may well have laid his life down on the line to protect those people around him, and it's just so sad that this is a situation where that's even a decision that's having to be made, man. It breaks my heart.
And Amari Peterson was 14 years old. A GoFundMe page created by the family remembers Amari as bright and loved. He played football and basketball and was planning to go to college. Cecil Hannibal spoke with Amari's basketball coach tonight.
He left everything on the court. He wanted to make his dad really proud.
Amari Peterson, a 14-year-old with a passion to win on the court and in the classroom.
He was good in school, you know, straight A student. He didn't talk back. Just honestly, just a genuine overall, just a really, sorry, just a good kid.
A good kid who lost his life in Saturday's mass shooting at a children's birthday party in Stockton. Brent Bonet.
It's just heartbreaking to see, man. It just kills me to see, man. People saying this world is full of evil. Jesus, we need you. Rest in peace to these 4 victims and my sincerest condolences and prayers to the families. People saying when the law is too lenient, there is no protection for innocent citizens and no deterrence to speak of. It takes decades to execute a criminal. These gangsters aren't scared of the law and they don't think twice to kill you. It's very sad, man, but there's you know, there's some truth to those statements, man, you know, and it's whatever protection should have been in place for society for this to not happen was lacking that night, and it's so sad. Now, I'm going to touch on some other things now. As discussed earlier, the rappers and alleged gang members at the party, you've heard in my previous videos some of these famous names that are affiliated with different sets in Stockton, perhaps are the reason why this was targeted. The names MB Nell, MB Nano, Flyboy Dougie Threes, who were all tied to Crip sets from South and Southwest Stockton. Now, the alleged shooters, however, they're believed to be from the Lewis Park Bloods in West Stockton, and they're allies with EBK, which is obviously EBK J-Bo's crew, very famously. Now, what's really crazy is that Dougie Threes, a rumored target of the shooting, who is now jailed for violating his probation for being around the gang members at this event where allegedly 100 people were in attendance and some were gang members, he has now spoken out from jail about his experience during the shooting. And as we heard from that woman earlier who gave her first-hand account of what went down, you know, you got to give it, you got to show respect to even have the strength and the confidence to even be able to open up about this and be honest about you know, what went down, and at least he's trying to set the record straight. So let's hear what you had to say.
And tonight, we're now hearing from a man who attended that party and witnessed the shooting. He, along with another man, were arrested for parole violations.
To be very clear, they are not considered suspects in the mass shooting. But 25-year-old Billy Williams claims that some social media posts blame him for what happened, saying he was one of the targets. He tells us he actually tried to help the victims.
They should know that I would die for those kids. I ran in front of everybody for those kids. I picked all those kids up. I brought them to the front yard. The little boy, Amari, the other little girl. I carried all of them to the front, and I don't understand where they get it all.
So he's basically saying that, look, he tried his best to save people. He picked people up. He tried to carry them to the front. Okay, they're basically saying, look, his name's being dragged through the mud. He's saying they should know he was willing to die for those kids. He ran in front of everybody. He tried his best. He basically did everything he could to try and save people. Okay, and it's unfortunate because obviously I think a lot of people are really just focusing on the gang membership and, you know, basically just this idea that, you know, they're all at fault. They're the ones that attracted the bullets for these incidents. But realistically, as a gang member, you're probably someone that's a lot more fearless, that's willing to jump in front of those bullets. Now, whether or not you're the reason those bullets are flying in the first place is another question. But at the end of the day, I don't even know. I'm actually conflicted, man. You guys are going to have to let me know. Because on the one hand, it's like, are these the protectors that you actually need, or are they bringing these problems to the community? I really don't know, but even him saying this, clearly this has affected him, and he doesn't want to feel like he's the reason these people got hurt. And he's trying to say, look, I did everything that I could to try and actually help everybody in that situation, and it's basically not, it's basically just not, it's not right. Like, he wants to get some, I don't know if respect is the right word, but he basically wants to get some, you know, some props, and he wants to set the record straight to basically say, like, I tried my best to help in that situation, all right? He can't do anything, can't go back in time and change that situation, but he's saying that he tried his best to help people out, and now he's locked up.
Or whatever they heard about me, no matter what I said in the song, no matter what I ever said, I never wanted to harm I never wanted to see nothing happen to kids.
So he's saying, he's referencing some of these earlier lyrics and these back and forths, and he's basically saying, look, no matter what I said in a song, I never wanted to see nothing happen to no kids.
Tonight, we are learning more information about the 4 young people killed in that mass shooting, starting with Maya Lupian. She was 8 years old. She was a 3rd grader at an Aspire Apex Academy. The school shared a statement from her family saying that Maya loved...
So I believe we did see this in the last reporting, right? So I won't play that again. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy to just hear him talking from behind bars. To be honest, that's very rare. I don't think you very often hear about situations where guys are getting locked up after these mass shootings and they're managing to speak to the news on a jail call so quickly afterwards. But clearly this is such a heinous incident that they really clearly, like, they want to set the record straight. They don't want everybody thinking that they're responsible and they're now, you know, part of what's going on, and they brought this on themselves. Now, there's some interesting comments under this one. People saying, well, I understand that this is a gang-related targeted shooting. I would like to offer my condolences to the innocent folks and condemn those who got their family members killed. They're kind of casting judgment on the gang members. It says, this situation is horrible, flat out, but you newsheads just keep babbling the same narrative and misleading regular people who don't know any better. Stop acting like this is so unusual. The very young kids is terrible, and that is unusual, but kids 12 and up die regularly by participating in gang activity, and you don't report on that. The 21-year-old, this is a crazy... I'm going to keep reading it. This seems good. The 21-year-old, the aunt says of him, he was a good kid and he went on to the celebration for a friend of his. It was his friend's daughter, I believe. He was arrested on the 24th of August and charged with possession of a machine gun, no less. See below for the rest of his charges. The guy in jail, Billy Williams, he's a gang member too. He is the birthday girl's uncle. The birthday girl's mum, she said all the right things, but she's no angel. She has a rap sheet a mile long, including prostitution, robbery, burglary, and theft, with charges in many counties of Central and Northern California. This kind of thing is not foreign to these folks, but they're going to play it up. Did you see the GoFundMe accounts already popping up? All the people who watch the news will go give to them, because this is so horrible. No one would have ever expected it. Apparently not otherwise. They would have had security on the door and all over that place. There are interviews with the father of the birthday girl and he's surrounded by security. He said he doesn't go anywhere without security. So why no security at this party where there were so many gang members and criminals mixing with old people and kids? There is no way on earth that anyone at that party didn't know who they were in the vicinity of. No effing way. So stop with the BS, news people. If regular people don't understand the problem, the right problem is not going to get fixed. Everything I wrote here is publicly available online. What happened to investigative reporting and news organizations who wanted to bring the truth out? Kids aren't going to stop dying until you stop lying. That comment is actually insane, but it's like, I ain't going to lie. They're spitting. People are saying, damn, that was my kind of reaction when I saw the mum all tatted up on the neck. But of course, you don't want to generalize right away, at least in social media. Some people are saying, ban guns, repeal the Second Amendment. I don't know if that is the problem, all right? So tired of the BS reporting on this. Not gang-related, stupidity. People are saying gang culture is so ingrained in our society in Stockton, California. Look at the mother of the 2-year-old. She works with kids and she's a gang member. The Stockton activist, the woman who got shot at the party, that's Sisano guy, the 21-year-old victim. He's the famous boxer Flores' cousin. We need help out here and call it what it is. Gang shooting. Saying this is why you never hang out with gangbangers, even if they're family members. Sad. It is really sad, honestly. It is really sad. I don't want to dunk on anybody too much more, okay? But it is, at the end of the day, it is just a crazy incident. Now, shout out to Renegade Media, who's been doing some really great reporting around this situation, okay? He's super tapped in. You should go and subscribe to him if you haven't already. He has been reporting on some of the early chatter on the internet, and he is actually talking about some people essentially pointing the finger at a certain EBK member and certain people affiliated with that set that you know from J-Bo and them, of being involved in the shooting, and he's going to point out some pretty crazy stuff in this long video, okay? Check this. This is actually going to just blow your mind, everything in this video, okay? So let's run through it.
Hey, y'all want to see something that's crazy? This was one of the rappers that was a primary target along with MB Nell in the Stockton shooting that hurt 19 people and 4 people lost their lives. We're talking about kids that lost their lives. On the 209 Times Instagram page, they posted the kid. But then I looked at Dougie Threes, one of the individuals that was a target at that party. He made this post. And the caption says, I'm sorry. What are you really sorry about, though? Just because you knew the kid and you feel responsible for what you've done and what you instigated and all the enemies and the ops that you created for yourself, and they retaliated and people got hurt, but you didn't?
It's a pretty pointed video, I'm not going to lie. And the way he's saying, you're sorry, what are you specifically sorry for? You're posting the GoFundMe of the victim. Why are you sorry specifically? Yeah, they're saying that he might have been the intended target of the incident, so perhaps him and the beef that he had going on is the reason that this went down, but Renegade Media's pointing out, he's saying, why are you so specifically sorry? And he's going to give some more background.
Because I don't hear you apologizing in this video right here.
Oh, got a Glock on me. Put a button on me. Set a fire, still a dead nigga. Why they going live? Probably want me dead. Tell them niggas come and pull up. Really pity me. Should die. Should have thought about it before you made a scene. Should have thought about it thinking what it's tired.
This Stockton gang rapper has been making a lot of songs, has been disrespecting a lot of dead enemies, dead ops, making fun of dead people, talking about street wars and gang wars where lives were took.
So he's saying that this guy was jumping on songs, dissing dead people, talking about the war, making fun of people who had been murdered. And then that may be, as a, you know, that's a butterfly effect that's essentially led to certain things happening all leading up to this moment. And maybe that's why he's saying he's sorry.
I don't see you being apologetic in those videos. See, you're apologizing on the basis that you know your actions and your lifestyle led to that incident that happened in Stockton. You can't expect people to accept your apology when a mother, and I send my condolences to her, has to grieve for her baby. And another mother and another father have to grieve for an 8-year-old baby as well. These are the consequences of you rappers' actions when y'all want to sit there and make diss tracks and diss songs and talk about dead people and really spill street business in lyrics about who killed who and you're glad that person's dead. I think it's a little too late to be apologetic. But before I end this video, I want to show you this right here. This is a gang member out of Stockton named Smirk. A lot of people say he's part of the EBK camp. All you gotta do is just read the comment section. Now he turned the comments off after things got out of control and a lot of people were making accusations. But yeah, they're basically blaming this crew that they were the ones responsible. Things are starting to get heated because a lot more people are starting to speak.
Killing kids, what part of the game is that? A bunch of females there too, you're definitely going to jail. They're saying this, they're saying he EBK. If it turns out that EBK was actually responsible, and it was a little bit suspicious that a bunch of EBK members from jail were talking about, we don't condone this. You're overly not condoning something that, like, we might not have even thought you were involved. Now, I'm not saying that they're involved, but you're seeing these comments.
Speak up, pay attention.
Saying you spanked that guy, huh? From Fly.
And like I said in my last video, If you're from these Stockton gangs, you're part of these Stockton rap groups that instigate these kind of
people saying, you know, you done effed up, right?
Warfares. Just because the people that did it are going to be held responsible and face court and face the law, I'm still holding every gangster rapper and every gangster out of Stockton accountable, because all of you are indulging in the same criminal behavior, the same gang warfares that mean nothing, and you guys are getting innocent people killed now. It's reached that level to that extent. That's why so many people are voicing their opinions, speaking out loud, and posting. You guys, a mother that's grieving her child deserves way more than just an apology.
It's so sad, man, but he's making a good point, man. Shout out to, hey, Renegade Media, he really a renegade out here. I ain't gonna lie, he really putting it out there like that. Now, in kind of unrelated news, okay, but it is sort of related. It's a little, I feel like this is a little bit opportunistic, but at the same time, it's positive, so we can't hate on it, okay? Burna Boy, who was recently scrutinized and dragged through the mud, basically, for mistreating his fans and sending one of his fans that was suffering a tragedy, kicking them out of the show for essentially being asleep at the show, okay? They're actually saying that Burna Boy is now offering to pay the funeral expenses for families affected by this tragedy. And this was posted by Jason Lee. And, you know, he's basically somebody that's kind of, you know, in the Hollywood reporting. See, I think he runs Hollywood Unlocked, right? It says, what happened to Amari and the other long lives taken this weekend has shaken me in a way that's hard to put into words. As someone who was shot in this city, as someone who stood over my own brother after he was murdered, I know this pain. I know the trauma these families are waking up with every single day now, and I know how moments like this can change you forever. When Amari's mother showed me his pictures, shared his scripture, and told me about his 3.8 GPA and his dreams, I saw myself as a young kid in Stockton, a kid full of potential, a kid with faith, a kid trying to rise above circumstances that he didn't choose. Amari deserved a full life. All of these children did. After the Breakfast Club shared his story, it caught the attention of WAC 100, who reached out and connected me with Burna Boy. Burna didn't know these families, but when he heard what happened, he stepped up with compassion and offered to cover the funeral costs for all of the kids lost. That kind of love and generosity matters. It won't erase the tragedy, but it gives these families one less burden to carry while they're facing the unimaginable. So to WAC and Burna Boy, thank you. Thank you for standing with our community. Thank you for honoring these young lives. And thank you for reminding Stockton that even in our darkest moments, people are willing to show up. Stockton, we have to do better for our kids. We have to honor Amari and every child we've buried by fighting with everything in us to make this city safer, more loving, and more protective of our youth. They deserve better, and we must be better. Justice for Amari, Stockton strong, end gun violence. Massive shout out to WAC 100, and he did actually respond to, it said, saddens my heart to see and hear this. Condolences to the family and extreme gratitude for Jason Lee for the friendship. To Burna Boy, you are one of a kind to know and have it in your heart to help the families out. Your helping hand won't go unnoticed. May the Creator continue to bless you, man. Shout out to WAC 100 for making that happen, man. Look, this situation is just so sad. I feel like, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like we might start to soon see maybe some ideas of who might have been responsible for this. Now, this Renegade Media video, okay, this was interesting. He's putting forward different theories. He's saying that, you know, the EBK members, they're taking their pages private. They're turning the comments off, okay? He said in his song Pull Up, and they did. Right, saying some of the songs mention something. They don't care if they're enemies with their kids. They dust them off too. Something might have happened to make someone angry enough to do this type of stuff without the concerns for innocent lives. People saying he knows who got touched. That's why he ain't safe. People are saying his music's garbage. But I don't know. Look, I'm not pointing the finger. Okay, people are saying shut up. The kids function though. No matter who their kids. The kids though. Streets are crazy. Ain't no more big homies and rules. People are saying they'll get their issues. Believe that. Right? He's going to catch up with them when there's kids involved and they messed up bad. I feel for the family and them kids, his time coming. So look, we don't know if that particular individual was the person responsible, but no doubt the FBI are on the case. The local authorities are on the case, okay? Everybody is doing everything they can to solve this situation and try and get resolution, try and get justice. So I will keep you guys updated. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and when these guys get arrested, which will probably not be too far from now, if I'm honest with you, because this situation is hot. Everybody's going to jail. It's over with. It's cooked. And if it turns out that these guys are really affiliated with EBK, if it's really EBK that's responsible for this, whole set is going extinct. FBI, Donald Trump about to get involved and really fuck your shit up. I ain't gonna lie. That's what it's gonna be. I'm sorry. That's what it's gonna be. So all of that, F everybody. I don't know. That's what Donald Trump's going to be bumping when he comes to lock everyone up for this. I don't know. Okay, so we'll keep track of what's going on. I do feel like a lot of these EBK guys, they're overly trying to distance themselves from this situation, and really, sometimes people be overwhooping. I'm not really sure what else to say. But look, I will keep you guys updated. I'm going to stick to the facts, okay? We always look at the speculation, but at the end of the day, I will make sure that I come with the facts. We don't know everything yet, but all we know that this has been a really tragic story, and I'm hoping everybody gets justice. I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will keep you guys updated in the next video. Thank you so much for trusting me as your news source. Thank you.